Making your way through work Monday takes everything you got. Then Monday night rolls around and you realize there's a shot. You're only 10 points away. All those times when your team had no fight, they're just so gosh darn frail. Then your star quarterback let another deep ball sail, and your third round pick bet on his team. Then go check out our streets where everybody knows your pain, and they listen to complaints. You wanna be where you can see our bodies bring you no shame. You wanna go where everybody knows your pain.
Welcome in. It was so laggy, dude. It was so laggy that I was just like, I was like holding back and I was like stuttering as I'm seeing Brian and his daughter. What's up, boys?
What's going on, Mario?
What's going on, fellas?
Not much. Robbie's been putting in the work. He's been grinding. He's been trying to set up one of our it's going to be multiple episodes, right, Rob?
Yeah, it's as of now we're planning 8 release episodes. They won't be live.
It's a Netflix documentary.
I mean, that is the plan, the Dad Bod Netflix special. So
you got to sell it.
On the way.
They called me. I didn't want to sell the rights, so it's going to release on our YouTube.
Wow.
We'll get it out. We'll get it out to everybody. It's going to be really fun. We have a ton of guests coming on. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. We got some good people coming.
Yeah, it so far been involved in some of the conversations you've had with some of them, and it's been amazing. It's also just nice chatting with people, and it's going to be a range of analysts or Facebook fantasy football personalities, fans, whoever. We just want to talk ball. If you know ball, we want to talk. So I'm excited for it, Rob.
It's going to be cool. It's first one should be, as of now, very tentative. It should be releasing next week, either Wednesday, I hope, or we'll get it out probably Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. So keep an eye out for that. We're going to get them out. We're going to get them going. And then we might start doing hopefully 2 a week until up into football season.
What a commitment, dude. You're going to be trying to compete with Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers Hard Knocks.
That ain't nothing. I got this.
Norton, what's up? So you're season 3 of Succession finally. You're finally catching up.
I know, dude. I know. It's only been a little bit.
Welcome to 2023, dude. Welcome.
I know.
2022.
Hopefully my wife isn't watching. She doesn't know. I've been watching it without her knowing. That way she if she wants to go back and watch, I'm just gonna act like we're start right back up. Whoa, what's going on?
Yeah. But, shoot! I was not expecting that.
I can't even believe this. But yeah, I couldn't wait anymore, dude. I was like, I gotta get through this. I gotta watch it all.
You were on standstill. We're talking
dude.
This wasn't an episode every 3 days. This was a full on standstill.
We haven't been watching one for like a month, so I'm dude, there's no way. Yeah, at this point, I was like, I want to watch it. I'm going ahead. Yeah, for sure. So, hope you binging that over the next week or so.
Me and Rob just staring at each other, laughing like, "Oh yeah,
he's in for it,
dude.
Come on, baby.
Yeah, Rick James, come on, baby." Let's get into this. I know I'm kind of like abruptly stopping our Succession talk, but we do have a ton to cover tonight. So I did want to kind of give the rundown as usual. We're doing the debate gate. This is where we talk about some of our biggest differences in rankings, really just kind of gauging what's up, Albert, gauging where the other person feels on specific players. If you feel like they're too low, maybe too high, we're just kind of getting in a range. And with 3 of us, it's fun. Norton, you have this outline set up perfectly. It's a different take than the first time we did it, which I actually really like it for that reason. The first time we kind of did 1-to-1. This time it's 2-to-1 sort of thing. So it's
a little
team
gang
ups.
up on somebody.
Yeah.
Guess who gets to go first?
Oh, Robbie. But before we get in there,
teaser.
a little teaser. We got some news that has gone down, and we may have touched it based on some of these. Melvin Gordon signs with the Ravens. James Robinson signs with the Giants. Cole Beasley signs with the Giants. Saquon signed a 1 year. I think I really don't want to take too much time on this, but I do want to ask. I'm going to just go ahead and assume that you don't even first care too much about the first three other than what maybe the Melvin Gordon signing means for JK. But the Barkley one confuses the shit out of me. And I can't really, do either of you have an answer to anybody? I need help. So looking for an answer from you guys.
Yeah, quickly, I'll just hit on the first three. Melvin Gordon couldn't run out of a paper bag last year. He's nobody right now, so I'm not worried about him. The one that's weird is Cole Beasley, because it seems like the only player that they're signing right now in the receiving room is a small slot. They already have like 4 or 5 of them. Like, I'm trying to figure out their game plan and how they're going to utilize it. This makes me more interested in Darren Waller, just because he's legit the only guy with size in the receiving room for that team. So I'm super interested in him because of this signing. But for Saquon, the 10.1, I believe it can go up to 11 with incentives. I think it's just kind of the future of how the running back position is going to be compensated. Is you might get a deal like this, 10 mil, 8 mil, and then you're going to have incentives to go get more. Maybe you'll have incentives to go get 12 million to 14 million based on.
But I thought that was done though. I thought because he's franchise tagged, we can't do anything else. That's what everything I read said that.
I don't know how it worked out where they could add up like another mil with incentives. But for me, reading the tea leaves on how this is going to all go down, is that seems like how the running back position is going to go. Is it's going to be very heavily laced with incentives. And it sucks for them because we all know it's a tweaked ankle. It's dude,
that's rough,
a high ankle sprain away from missing 6 games.
No commitment. 1 year. 1 year. That's it. And this is their stud.
That might have been the only thing he wanted to sign, was a 1 year, which makes sense.
I doubt it.
Yeah,
no way he would turn down a 4-year contract, not at the running back position.
There was a ton of talk that he was really upset that he couldn't be in camp with his guys. Like, he's very team oriented, very heavily focused in the team. He wanted to get back there. So maybe it was just, let's get this done with. Give me a couple, give me an extra mil.
It's such a loss. Yeah, it's like he said, I need a couple mil so I can look to the media and look like I won something here. But I feel bad. It's a loss. It's a loss, dude. You signed a 1 year. You're add 2-3 million. That's not enough for the 1 year. That's the same to me. That's the same thing as a franchise tag. You get no commitment from the team.
Oh, for sure. This is why, though, I felt like with Saquon specifically, especially, I had been saying all along, like, I'm not worried about him, because he's said all along, like, he's not trying to be the highest paid. He wants to get in there with his guys. Like, he wants to be there, like, all this stuff. Like, and you can tell, like, just his character, the type of guy he's been his whole career. Like, he seems like the guy doesn't really like the conflict of the business side of it, like the conflict between, two sides trying to struggle between it. But that's the thing is, like you said right here early with the landscape. Ultimately, until they change it.
Yeah, we got a comment here saying maybe the RB call, they all saw the landscape, nothing they could do this year, but gives them time to put together a plan for RBs before next year.
Yeah, it could be.
It's a solid point.
And honestly,
take what you could get sort of situation. Like Barkley's like, well, damn, I might as well get 3 more mil before committing to this.
Yeah, and on top
of 900,000, that's all he got extra.
Yeah, and it's like, but I think with really, everything. I think really, it's like, I think what they're hoping for too is like the comment said, like they're trying to
figure it out.
He's trying to get this, and then they're going to try to renegotiate different ways in the next CBA and stuff. And like, hopefully,
and
they
Jim
come out of that
Irsay's out
2 year.
there tweeting it out. Like Jim Irsay's out there tweeting out like, we already agreed to something. No plan to bring it back up or so.
I'm telling you, man. The only thing that makes sense is what you said, Norton, was switch these contracts to 2 years from a rookie. If you're in a first round, you can get 3 years. And I mean, Bijan's the highest paid running back this season.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken. And it's crazy that if you're in the first round, you get that kind of money, and these guys are fighting to get paid for their second contract just because we know how this is Saquon's 4th, 5th year going into it. If you get him coming off his contract in the second year into his third, that's a big difference for these running backs. They got way more leverage.
Duh. Yeah, this is what we've been. I mean, we've had this conversation on air. I think 3 to 4 different times right now.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
It has to be different for these guys. Like, it's just not right for them to take all of these hits. They are literally 50% of the game. And there's some of the running backs that obviously one running back probably isn't 50% of each game, but there's running backs that are up there. Like, I mean, Derrick Henry, he takes on almost 50% of offensive plays for this team. It's crazy. And now his situation is a little bit different because he's actually getting paid.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is crazy. And the other thing I don't get to, like, I mean, I don't want to get into a huge big side tangent of this, but like all the people who like complain and like say, oh, they should these guys should just take the money. They're playing a game. They're getting paid too much already. Dude, it's like, dude, the owners are making exponential amount more. You're siding with an owner who probably most of them were born into this money, got lucky being born into this money, did even less than any of these players ever did, and then they're reaping the benefits off of these players and criminally underpaying the running backs because they know they can exploit them in this type of scenario. So like that's so wild to me.
Not only that, but like we have the Tyler Boyds, fine receiver, the DJ Charks, Will Fullers, the Michael Gallups. They are all making more than most of the RB position. Like you have guys like the RBs are like getting paid like guys like Laquan Treadwell. It's just I'm pretty sure Laquan Treadwell maybe this was last year, had a $6 million. It was a 1 year for $6 million. Isn't that what Miles Sanders makes? Like, it's just so insane to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the only thing that sucks for the running back position and why they don't have the leverage, go back and look at all the Super Bowl teams over the last 5 seasons.
It almost makes more sense to be a running back that gets to sit back for the first 3 years of their career. Again, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler. I mean, like Eckler's a little bit different because he's still getting kind of pulled one under, but like you don't want to get they'll work on your legs. You don't want to because they're just not going to sign you.
I'm just saying that these teams look at the Super Bowl teams from the past 5 seasons. No one's had a running back making big money. No one's had a superstar running back really in the Super Bowl. So teams see this and they're like, well, we don't need a superstar running back to get to the Super Bowl. So why are we going to do it?
Right.
Well, because you don't have Patty Mahomes, sir.
Yep.
That's why.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair.
It's really
and that's why all the money goes to these quarterbacks.
Context. There's a little bit more context. You don't have Patty Mahomes or Tom Brady. You're going to need a better running game. I'm not saying go pay him.
I get it.
Yeah.
That's the 49ers game plan, right?
For sure.
Yeah. 49ers look great. Oh, yeah, this is tough. Wait, also, last person, and we're not even going to talk about it. Just wanted to mention Jimmy Graham signed a 1-year contract with the Saints. It makes me a little bit nervous about Jawan Johnson. Yeah, it's so wild. Why did he sign? Why? There's Taysom Hill now, Jawan Johnson, Jimmy Graham.
Foster
I thought he signed just to retire.
I did too.
I did too. And then I saw.
He'll be so lucky to get out of camp. Like. It might just be a camp signing.
I won't lower any Jawan Johnson. I won't lower my
hype. Go crazy, dude.
This one sucks. Naeem Hines done for the year after jet ski accident. Freak weird crash.
He was just sitting on it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. Crazy.
There's somebody else that's out too. Oh no, just for a little bit. Kadarius Toney, knee surgery to clean up cartilage. Robbie has been posting like crazy the Justin Ross hype after this. It is Cole Kmet signs a 4-year, $50 million deal. God, like perfect example. Thank you for having this on the same slide.
Saquon side high and Cole Kmet, dude.
Dude, like what? Cole Kmet has what total of 100 catches in his career?
That is wild.
I'd say Saquon almost had that. Almost had more catches than
more money than Saquon Barkley.
Saquon probably had more total yards in his rookie year than Kmet had in his career right now, honestly.
Yeah. This ain't even the one of the most paid positions. Yeah, this is just a bad deal.
It's wild.
Does that make you raise up Cole Kmet?
No, I can't do it, dude. But maybe a little bit. And this one's on par for also a big FU to Austin Eckler. Justin Herbert signs 5-year, $262.5 million. Herbert's over there cashing in. Highest paid now. Eckler's just trying to have a 3-year contract. All right. Yeah, so we gotta guess that player.
Ooh,
Robbie hit
it. Yeah. Guess that player.
It's a bop, dude. I'm telling you.
It's coming. If I could play the guitar, I would do it, but I just can't play it.
It seems I
tried for 2 weeks and it just didn't take.
It's got to be one of the most generic sort of intros that I've ever heard. You just go, guess that player, but then your head movement. I mean, that's what hypes me up about it.
Maybe we'll make a clip, player. And we could play the clip before every time. Yeah. Let's get into it.
All right, player A, wide receiver with early 3rd-round draft capital, and he's 26 years old. Last year, 10.6 points per game. He was wide receiver 39.
I've looked at too many notes today.
I have no idea.
Last year's target share.
Exactly who it is.
Last year's target share, 27%. Wide receiver 13. Last year's air yard share, 32.3%. Wide receiver 18. Targets per route run, 26.3%. Wide receiver 18. And his yards per route run wasn't great, 1.58. Wide receiver 52. So basically, all the underlying metrics pretty much were better than the output. This wide receiver, late 2nd-round draft capital, 22 years old.
I have a feeling I know this one now.
Last year, 9.8 points per game, wide receiver 48. But his target share only 15.6%, wide receiver 58. Air yard share 27.5%, wide receiver 37. Targets per route run, rough, 16.3%, wide receiver 87. And his yards per route run also rough, 1.54, wide receiver 56.
Show this comment. You want to see it?
Oh yeah.
Robbie has no clue. Robbie has no clue, but now he does. I can't show.
Diontae Johnson versus Pickens.
There we go.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I probably got it away because I was giggling.
Is that who you think it is, Mario?
Oh yeah. I mean, once I saw the points per game, I saw that all day.
You knew that. Yep. That is a great guess. Diontae Johnson and George Pickens.
The sign of George Pickens.
Yeah. Does that mean we own that now? We have his autograph?
I think so. It's in the works. It's an NFT, I think.
Let's do that. So initially, I think our notes has Christian Watson, but because we just talked about it, I think it's best if we just kind of weasel our way into Diontae Johnson, where myself, I have him ranked as wide receiver 32. Robbie has him ranked at wide receiver 33, and Norton, you have him at wide receiver 24. Top
one of my guys.
We might might be a little bit off on this slide because I've adjusted already based on Norton's early arguments here. Norton, let's hear about it. Why do you have him so high?
So yeah, as we just saw with some of the underlying metrics, like he's a target monster, dude. Like he is. I mean, he's a great route runner. The dude is.
Preach it.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, but it's Diontae, to me, like, he's been very drastic over the past couple of years. 2 years ago, heading into 2 years ago, people were super out on him because, Diontae drops all these passes. Diontae can't catch. It's the whole drop narrative, all that crap. It's like, dude, you have to get the ball thrown to you to have a chance to drop it first off. So he's getting the ball thrown to him a ton. I didn't care about that. Then he went out that year, had an awesome season. Okay. Then last year, again, his target share, all that kind of stuff was still good. He just had 0 touchdowns. Like, of course that's gonna bottom out. I would understand, like, if he didn't really ever get targeted in the red zone, but he had the 10th most red zone targets last year with 18 red zone targets alone. Like I said, the year before, he was wide receiver 8, 17.2 points per game. He has 144 or more targets for 3 straight years. He has 26% targets per route run or more or better for 3 straight years. The guy just gets targets. Like, he's been, like I said, he was wide receiver 8 just 2 years ago. And he still was getting tons of targets. It's just last year's Kenny Pickett, like, he had zero touchdowns. Kenny Pickett had like a historically low touchdown rate. I think he only had like 7 touchdowns or something like that. So
they didn't get into inside the 5 too much. And I think the part that I want to talk about here, because Robbie, do you have any notes here? I know I'm kind of skipping here.
He's somebody I'm actively raising in my rankings. I think I'm at 31 to 30 right now. Norton's hitting everything. I had him when he had that, number 8 season, and I saw what he can do. I know he's a good player. He's just a very good player. And the only way you command 147, 169, and 144 targets in a season is if you are very, very good. Like, you're not getting those targets if you're not good. Now, the reason I have him so low is because, we're dealing with Kenny Pickett. Can Kenny Pickett get him the ball? And can he get him the ball in the red zone? That's the question. That's kind of always the question with the Diontae. Can he score touchdowns? I don't think he's going to get a ton, but if he gets a couple, he can jump up into that top 24.
I have a question for you, Mario, real quick too. I don't know if you guys know this offhand. I was just thinking about it. Garrett Wilson last year, what did he finish in a per game? Because, like, what do you think? It was like 20th, 22,
points,
20? Yeah,
points per game?
Yeah. In
21 maybe?
See, and that's like, if I just think about it, like,
hello.
I think worst case, obviously worst case, he gets 0 touchdowns again, but I think in a way, like, worst case kind of like QB play scenario would be what Garrett Wilson dealt with last year. Like
12.7.
He had 12.7.
Yeah.
And that was
counting now.
Because I was thinking, I was like, okay, so say he get like Garrett Wilson got 147 targets or something. That's like right in line with what Diontae is getting per year. If he gets that, gets a low catchable rate, and he gets like 80 some catches for 1,100 yards
31.
and 4 touchdowns. I still think he's going to beat that kind of number because I think the QB play is going to be better than the Zach Wilson parts for sure. And like,
that's the thing, Norton. Like, for me, he can't there's no way it's worse than last year. Well, right? Like, it's hard for me to believe it's going to be worse.
That's how I feel.
No, I hear what you guys are saying. I think 24 feels high still for me, right? I am not at 39. I'm at 32 right now. And I think 24 still feels kind of high. So first off, Fantasy Pros has a different red zone stat for him, which I find really odd. But let me start off with this. Diontae had 147 targets last year. We talked about it. Finished wide receiver 39 in points per game, as you also mentioned. His catch percentage was 58%, so only 3% lower than his career catch percentage. His yards per reception was 10.3, so only 0.4 less than his average. So yes, a down year. But we're not talking drastic so far. And obviously, as you mentioned, here's the drastic one. His touchdowns went from 8 to 0. That's huge. So let's play this out, though. If you give him half a touchdown more per game, 8 touchdowns, I think, is very fair and very generous if you just want to give them
Yeah.
all 8. So we're saying that's 4 points per game, right? He still finishes as wide receiver 27 in points per game. Now, here's where we're not going to see 169 targets from Diontae again. I find that hard to believe. We have a rising start of George Pickens. We have a rising tight end in Freiermuth, and we had a Big Ben that was scared to throw. It's the same thing we saw with Najee. He lost a ton of targets. We are not expecting those back again. Diontae has similar routes. He's not like it's not. Big Ben isn't looking to keep it within 7 yards, 8 yards passing. That's his wheelhouse, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, I think it makes sense. I think it makes sense because he is a quick like route runner, like get off the line, beat press coverage, win with his footwork, real quick routes and things like that. So I think it makes sense. Definitely. I mean,
Mario, that's your argument, right? Like it's not so much
even if we give him the
talent around him is better.
I think that's my main concern is like, even if we give him the 8 TDs and we give him almost a similar stat line as last year, we have the targets, the receptions. I guess I'm not moving up the yards in that case. It still keeps him at wide receiver 27 points per game because I don't know why the yards would necessarily what's screaming that the yards are going to go up, right? Like the outlier year so far is his wide receiver 8 year. If you look at his whole career, it's the best year that he had. It was his best yards per reception. It was best yards after catch. Like everything about it was the best. Inside the fives from 21 to 22 went down from 13 to 4 with no Big Ben. So they didn't get inside or they weren't throwing, or they didn't get inside the 5 a ton with Kenny Pickett. And then I also put it's hard just to envision them not turning to Freiermuth, who's 6'5", and George Pickens even, who's 6'3". I mean, Diontae is, I want to say 6 foot.
He's small.
I'll look that up.
Yeah, he's small.
I was gonna say my counter to that is all these things were the same things that were said the year that he was coming in, and when he had the whole drops argument against him, and Claypool was coming off a 11 or 12 touchdown year as a rookie, and he's a athletic freak. Claypool is, and dude, like Claypool had a way better rookie year than Pickens. I'm not saying he's better or not better, but this was also why Diontae got faded heading into that year, because Diontae couldn't catch. We got a rising star in Claypool that's going to get fed around the red zone. Same narratives, and then after that next year, Diontae goes out. I will say your point about the Big Ben thing is for sure. That's why last year we had a lot of talks about Najee, and I was fading Najee
that's
last
what
year.
You told me last year.
Yeah, because I was and I do agree. Like Deontay's a quick hitter type kind of guy. So
and Kenny progressing isn't going to necessarily help that. I mean, in ways it helps it. It may be more valuable targets in ways, but like it's also going to be. I think we'd see. I just can't see him getting more than 150.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't project more than 150 necessarily. I would think more like 140 to 150 range, in that range. Mm-hmm. Like I think it's kind of like his sweet spot. I think he's going to catch 100 plus. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes 1,200 yards ish. And like
that would surprise me. I think that surprises.
Okay,
because he's never passed that.
No, that's understandable. Yeah, I mean, because it is a shorter route kind of thing. So
yeah,
I mean,
he's possession receiver. He is what Rob is scared about Amon-Ra.
Yes,
right. Different because we're not arguing
discounted Amon-Ra, right?
Yeah, it's different because yeah.
Basically, it's like you get Amon-Ra that one point, then you can get discounted Amon-Ra, and you get Keenan Allen, then you get discounted Keenan and get Diontae. So like that's pretty much where it is.
Those are the tiers.
It seems like it, yeah.
So he's
the
like,
arbitrage, as
the food club.
Kids say.
He's the food club Amon, and
pretty much
great value.
He's just that middle of the barrel.
But no, I think you guys have good points.
I was trying to think of an even more discounted Diontae now, and I can't think of it.
I know, like a brand. But no, I think
it's Laviska.
Oh,
or it was 2 years ago.
Oh, boy.
Albert coming in with a question. How would you rank Diontae Johnson, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk? I think I have it Kirk, Ayuk, Johnson.
I know. I was going to say, I know you guys have it different than me for sure, because I have it Diontae for sure.
Okay.
Like I have it Diontae, I think Diontae, Kirk, Ayuk. Kirk and Ayuk are really, really close for me.
Yeah, they're 30. All really similar.
Yeah, I have 31 for Kirk, 33 for Ayuk, and 24 for.
Let me get my rankings up just to make sure.
Diontae, but I know Kirk and Ayuk, they all go like really similar range too when drafting. But I much prefer Diontae just because to me, he's almost a lock to out target them. The other two are going to be on better offenses, but they also have better talent around them to me for sure.
Yeah,
dude, I honestly think Diontae has. It's possible that he has 40 plus more targets than either of them. Honestly,
so you have him still getting in the 160s then?
No, I just don't think. I think those guys are going to be closer to around 100.
Okay, I still have Christian Kirk getting a decent amount of that offense.
That's fine.
Yeah, like I think they're going to be around like 100, 110 targets, those two, and then I think Deontay's 140, 150.
Okay.
Yeah. That's volume play for Norton there. I want to move over and shift gears here. It's not shifting gears too much because we're going to be talking about another wide receiver. And Robbie, along with, it's me, you, and Alex, Norton. It's me and you, Alex, versus the world. We are very split on this, and it's bad. We don't even have a guy. We don't have him ranked in the 20s anywhere.
No, I'm way higher than this was an old slide.
Oh, you should have 27 on our outline. Is
that
about right?
I was gonna say I'm 27 now. And he's floating. He's in that 27 to like 22 range for me.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
Brian's the hater. Brian's the real hater.
It's not. Yeah. No,
Brian's taking.
It's not 32, Tiff. It's
no. He got Dave Kluge to give me hell about DJ Moore. Let him hear it. All right. So Norton, I'm gonna have you kick off here. And kind of give your reasons why. Well, you have him at wide receiver 16. I have him at wide receiver 15. I think I didn't actively move him from 14 to 15. I think I bounced somebody ahead of him. So go ahead and give your reasoning behind that.
Yeah, so I have him in that, like you said, wide receiver 16. He's in the tier of 12 to 17 for me. So like, kind of that tier there. I think honestly, to me, like Christian Watson is basically like we were talking about arbitrage plays and value plays. Like to me, he's like the discount version of Garrett Wilson and Olave. All rookies coming off of that, off of really nice rookie years. The thing with Watson was that he started out hurt in the beginning of the year. He didn't become a full-time. Yeah, and he didn't become a full-time player until week 10. Like if you look at his game log, he didn't even play like
snap percentage.
His snaps were so low until week 10. From that point on, the dude was a stud. He was wide receiver 8. Monster. Yeah, he was wide receiver 8. He had a 23% target share. Yeah, he was 23%. 23% target share. Which was top 24 in the league during that span. He had 41% air yard share, which is absurd. That was top 3. Now if he would have had that for the whole entire year, there was only like I think maybe two players. I think it was like AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill that beat him in that metric. His fantasy points per route 0.64, which is wide receiver 3, third best. Fantasy points per target 2.52, wide receiver 1. So best fantasy points per target in the NFL among all wide receivers. He had his yards per route run was 2.4, which is 12th best in the NFL. His targets per route run 25.5%, which is 25th best. And again, all those numbers that I'm giving are full year stats. He didn't even become starter.
Full-time player until week 10.
Yeah. So coming into this year, I think he's fully healthy now. He's got a full year under his belt. Just progression as a player. Like all these metrics, they're just so good.
Norton, let me ask you. So the question we have for Rob is, what the hell? Or WTF?
Yeah. What the hell?
Tiff knows. That's what I'm saying.
No, I get it. I get everything that you guys are saying. I've said this, a couple times to both of you that I think Christian Watson has every potential in the world to be a top 10 wide receiver taken year in and year out, right? Like the talent is there. He's that good of a receiver. He's a special player. The issue I'm having is just the offense. The offense and, having Jordan Love come in at QB. We don't know what to expect coming out of that. We don't know how this offense is going to evolve. In my personal opinion, I don't see Christian Watson getting the amount of targets needed to get up to that top 15 level like you guys have him at. That's why I have him at 27. he's one of those players where I have him at 27, but I'm willing to take him ahead of some of the guys I have ranked higher because I think the boom weeks are going to carry him through. I think he's going to get a ton of boom weeks, but I think he's also going to have a couple weeks that aren't as great. And I also anticipate this offense kind of going to, I mean, we talked about it a couple that we had Tiff and Janet on last night to talk some Green Bay Packers, where they're going to turn this team into a run-heavy offense with both of these running backs there, especially, in my opinion, in the red zone. Now, can Christian Watson be a top 15 wide receiver with 110 targets? He's one of the very few players I think can do it because of how unique of a talent he is. But I'm not willing to take that risk to say that he's going to be a top 15.
Yeah, so I think there is a couple things here that I heard based on what you're saying. This guy wasn't dependent on A-Rod, Robbie. Mm-hmm. So he Jordan Love, that is you're no going concern
off of one game.
Wait. I'm not talking about Jordan Love. He was a yak machine. He came in 4th for most yards after catch with 50 plus targets on the season. He's top 15 yards after catch in the last 3 years for 50 plus targets. The dude is a monster. And who gives is it JFK? It's less about what Jordan Love can do for him, but what he can do for Jordan Love.
Okay.
Ask not about your country, what you could do for your country, whatever the hell that's it. That's it. That's Christian Watson.
Dude. I get it.
He's going to make Jordan Love a stud. He is the DJ Moore to Justin Fields. He is the AJ Brown to Jalen Hurts. Too hype here?
Yeah, that's too hype because you don't know. Like, you could say that if we had a season. You could say that if we had a season
really
of
jacked
Jordan
up
Love.
the JFK quote, though.
Right? Like you can make that argument if Jordan Love was here for a season. We just don't know what to expect. Like, what if Jordan Love just isn't good? Though. We don't know.
I mean, he could get him a pass 6 yards out. Let Christian Watson do the work.
And I agree with that, but he's not going to sustain that game in and game out. Like, that is not a sustainable way to do it. To be a top 15 wide receiver, you need to get the volume. You need to be you're going to need to get more than 100 targets. So, like, you can look at what happened with Kyle Pitts last year and Drake London. We want to say that all these guys can do it with, just feed him the ball. The talent's there. They're good enough to be it. We know how good those players are. The quarterback was not good enough to get them the ball. So Rob, I don't think Jordan Love is going to be as bad as what they were dealing with in Atlanta last year. I'm not saying that by any means, but I'm saying it might not be good enough to get Christian Watson into that top 15 category.
See, I will say I definitely understand the point about if he doesn't get enough targets. My counterpoint to not getting enough targets is the fact that I'm expecting him to get much more targets probably than people expect because of the target per route run number. So that target per route run, for example, he's at 25.5% targets per route run last year. That was 25th best in the NFL. The thing was, he only ran 255 routes. That was 93rd. So, and he only had route participation on the season of 56.9% because that takes into account, obviously, his whole season. So if he jumps his route percentage from 255 and say he goes from a 56.9%, and then after that week 10, he was an 80 or 90% route participation guy. If he does that, I think we would all expect he's going to be an 80 or 90% route participation guy from the jump, right? Considering what he did at the end of last year. If he does 80 or 90% route participation, his routes jump from 255 to 500-ish. Yeah, and then if you have a target rate at that same targets per route run, so if he runs 500 targets, just round numbers, right? 25%, so a quarter of that's 125 targets.
But you're also you're also trying to say that they're going to run the same offense that they did last year with Aaron Rodgers. And that's not what I think they're going to do. I think it's going to be very run heavy, very oriented around the two running backs that they have. With Christian Watson being that the majority of the wide receiver options and passing options outside of those running backs. But again, inside the red zone and for the majority of the game, I think it's going to be a grinded out kind of offense. And hopefully your defense can hold up in Green Bay. That's kind of how the only way
as a
not
rookie.
The only way, but I think a very good counter argument to what I'm trying to say is that this Green Bay defense isn't going to be good enough for them to do that. which is fair because they might not be good enough to sustain some sort of running heavy offense.
As a rookie, he in the last 8 games, because that's when he started playing. And you can look at the first couple. He didn't have many targets in the first couple. Last 8 games, he averaged 6.5 targets a game. If you span that out 17 games, you get 110.5. That's not enough. I get it, but he's a rookie. So let him grow a little bit. But also, there was a couple guys in the top 15 that had this amount that still made the top 15. Jalen Waddle, 114. Christian Kirk, or Tyler Lockett, Tyler Lockett, 109. Brandon Ayuk, 112. I mean, there's guys that did this. It's not impossible.
No,
that's 3 guys right there.
It's 100% possible. It's 100% possible. But you're drafting him. His ADP is saying that he's going to do it. It's very hard to do. Now, again, he's one of the players.
Wide receiver 14.
He's up there, dude.
20 or 21 right now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying
he's a
like,
fourth
again,
round.
I have him at 27. He's being drafted at 20. It's for me to get him into even the top 20. Like, it's hard. It's hard for wide receivers to do with such limited volume. And Mario, again, like all these counter arguments, I'm saying he's a fantastic player. He is elite. And if he gets the opportunity, he's going to take it and be a top 10 wide receiver one season. I just don't think it's going to be this season because I think they need to slow play Jordan Love into this offense. Like, can he hit the back half how he did last year if Jordan Love gets a lot more comfortable in the offense and they let him throw more? 100%. I could see him being one of those back half winning championships for you kind of players. But at the beginning of the season, I think it's going to be rough.
If he starts off the season with 32 points, I promise you, Norton and I are going to victory lap it, and we're never going to come back to it. Don't care what happens for the rest of the season.
That's fine. And again, he's somebody I'm fluctuating into my top 25. Like, I think he's closer to my top 25 than my 30. But it's just, again, I think this offense is going to go very run heavy.
It's fair for sure. I will say, I guess my last counterpoint
to raise up the rate, AJ Dillon Love.
I guess my last counterpoint to is about the QB play is that I think during that span, even though Aaron Rodgers wasn't very good during the span, like he was like,
they still let him throw though.
No, it's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that's my issue.
My issue isn't, I will say my issue isn't as much about volume of Love. It's more about efficiency, I guess, of Love compared to Rodgers. Because like Rodgers, if you look at his like attempts compared to like a lot of QBs,
it's not a lot.
It wasn't a lot. Yeah. It's just he's a very efficient player. He doesn't turn the ball over and
too much there.
Yeah, he always has this like a good completion percentage, and he doesn't turn the ball over a lot. So like, and he doesn't have a ton of yards or attempts though. Like, so it's more about can Jordan Love at least be close enough on efficiency. Like I don't think he necessarily will, but at the same time, because I'm not even really high on Love, it's just the fact that like I think ultimately Love doesn't even have to be good for him to do it, because like during that span it wasn't like Rodgers was like lighting it up. Like, so it's just, for me, I guess to me it's more betting on like all the underlying metrics. But I totally understand what Rob's saying. Like, I mean, I do feel a little bit risky sometimes taking them, but at the same time, like usually when I'm taking them in drafts,
you gotta risk it for the biscuit, you know?
That's for sure.
No,
for sure.
Yeah.
But
like if I have a very safe, like if I have a very safe 1-2 punch with my wide receivers and I'm getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm debating
he's a great wide receiver too, though.
If he was my wide receiver 3 and I'd be super comfortable with that.
Yeah, but everywhere else you wouldn't be.
Stuff.
I don't think taking 3 within the first 4 would be scary.
a little bit.
Norton, did you have one last point, or are we good to move on?
Is he going 4th round?
Yeah, I was gonna say his average draft position like on Underdog right now is like right around 40 overall. So he's going like early.
All the wide
4th.
receivers.
Yeah,
all the wide receivers though. You heard?
He's
wide receiver 21,
20 or 21, and that's the thing is like
they're all going early.
Well, yeah, all the top ones, because I think there's a drop off after 11 in my rankings, and then from like I said, I have 12 to 17. But when you look at ADP, like DK's 15, and then like after that, Debo's 16 in ADP, and that's a huge drop for me. Like I'm really out on Debo, so like Debo's like it goes like Debo, and then Calvin Ridley is like 17, and it's like all these guys right there. And like I understand you guys I'm sure you would take Amari Cooper in that range. And so there's Amari Cooper, and that's one that I consider right there too because I have him pretty close. But other than that, it's like Amari Cooper and Christian Watson are the two that I take in that range because I'm not taking Ridley, I'm not taking Debo.
I would take Amari Cooper so fast over Christian Watson.
Yeah, I mean it's understandable, but Amari Cooper to me, I love him, but I do like him, but I don't think he's got that same upside. That same.
It's No, it's how you want to build your team. Right?
Juice no more.
It's how you want to build your team.
So we were talking, Norton, you started talking about a guy that we're going to get into a little bit more here, actually. So we've talked a ton of wide receivers, and if we have time, we'll do even one more. I don't know if we will, but I did want to talk to you guys about Aaron Rodgers and Geno Smith. And I want this in kind of a combined sort of conversation. And it's because they're similar quarterbacks for fantasy, right? Like when you're ranking these guys, you're ranking them in the same sort of sense that you're ranking Joe Burrow, the non-rushing QBs essentially. So Aaron Rodgers though is really who I'm going to kind of focus on here because I'm relatively high in Aaron Rodgers. I have him at QB 8. Rob has him at QB 11. Norton at QB 15. Geno Smith. Rob is the low guy at QB 16. I'm in the middle, QB 14. And Norton, you have him QB 11, I think, which I wrote.
11, yeah.
I wrote for whatever reason on here 15, but I remembered that you had him at QB 11. So Aaron Rodgers, though, here's my case for Aaron Rodgers. Last season, maybe the worst season in his career if you look at the games that he still played, but he was playing with a weird broken whatever thumb. He was QB 28 last season in points per game. Before that, the 4 seasons prior to that, in points per game, Aaron Rodgers finished QB 8, QB 5, QB 14, and QB 9. Again, skipping last year, Aaron Rodgers has averaged over 250 plus passing yards a game and 2.12 touchdowns. That's roughly 18.5 points per game. 4,250 yards is what this comes out to, and 36 touchdowns. That's well within, right? Like, I mean, we look at 4,250 yards and 36 touchdowns. That should probably be like a little above the middle of his range of outcomes in New York. No?
I think the touchdowns is much
high.
Yeah, 30. I mean, how
With
many guys had 30
coming off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. I think he's one of the best to ever do it, so I'm not gonna try to doubt the guy too much. But 30, how many guys even had 30 last year? Like it's tough to even get 30, I think. So like, but he has been a guy that obviously he's gotten a lot. The thing is, I mean, I was gonna say the thing is like, are the Jets gonna when they get down to the 1 yard line and let him throw the ball on the fade? I mean, obviously we love Garrett Wilson, so I'm not going to say they're not going to, but like Devontae Adams and him were like proven. Like they would get down there and they'd throw it so much. I'm not going to say they don't.
I think a lot of that too was even like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae looked at each other, and they saw the coverage coming up, and they're like did a head nod and they did it. But I don't think a lot of that was planned by the offensive coordinator or coaching staff by any means. It's can A-Rod and Garrett Wilson get on that same page where they're comfortable enough with each other where they're going to start doing that stuff.
Yeah. No.
And outside of that, I do want to say that I think he throws more. We talked about that. He doesn't typically throw that much in Green Bay. You'll hear me mention this on every podcast that we probably ever talk about Aaron Rodgers anymore, as he owns this Jets franchise now. He said, you guys want me, here's what you got to do. He's definitely going to be running the shots when it comes to play calling. I absolutely believe that. Hackett's back. So to answer your earlier question, only 4 QBs had 30 touchdowns. 2 of them had 29. So about 6, maybe if you want to round those up to 30. So it is a little bit tougher than I thought, but I do expect him to be passing more. So I don't necessarily think that getting over 4,250 yards is going to be that hard, but I want to finish this out. He brings back old weapons with Cobb and Lazard. So he has some familiar faces, gets new, beautiful, shiny, new wide receiver, Garrett Wilson. And then we got McCole Hardman, Corey Davis, and we got 2 young new backs with Brees and Michael Carter. Offensive line is strong. find it crazy. And this is where the Geno Smith context comes in. Because when we're looking at these guys, they play the same game. I mean, Geno scrambles more. He may even rush a little bit more.
Yeah. Like
what is it? How do you got Geno over him?
I think he has better weapons, one. I mean,
Smith.
You
Garrett
know,
Wilson that way.
I was say, you know how much I love Garrett Wilson.
You already got rid of him. You're out, huh? You got rid of him in Dynasty. You said I'm out.
We're not gonna. We can't talk about that. What's done is done, and we're gonna move on with that. But no. But anyway, Packer fan there.
Oh,
hey, we still left the Packer
hurt today, dude.
We still left the Packer jersey on for one last time.
Yeah.
Let's go.
She saw that pay cut he took for the Jets today.
I know, right?
30 mil.
30 mil. That was wild.
It is. No, but
everyone in Green Bay is burning their jerseys today.
Oh, right? Dude. I wish we had this conversation with the Packers, with Janet and Tiff. I wish we had it tomorrow or something.
I know.
They were like, I kind of still like Aaron Rodgers, and I think if I was a Green Bay fan,
I know. No,
I would be pissed right now, dude.
For sure. But the thing between it is, so Geno does rush more. So Geno had 366 rushing yards last year, compared to Rodgers 94. So that's a nice little spot there. If I had to guess who had more touchdowns, I would give it to Aaron Rodgers, even though Geno had more last year. Okay. But like you said, here's the thing with Aaron Rodgers, 3 of the past 5 years, he's had 26, 25. And then he had those 2 spike years, 48 and 37. I mean, I still think he's going to be like around 30-ish, right? I think he's going to be 30, 32 maybe. I'd say Geno's 28, 30, like in that range. I think they're going to be close in touchdowns. I think both can throw a similar amount. I just think ultimately when it comes down to it, Geno has better weapons. We saw it last year. They added the best receiver in the draft, JSN. And I just think, I mean, I was listening to a podcast earlier. It was getting me even more hyped about Geno, to be honest. They were talking about it like some of the beat reporters were coming on, said they're going to be running 11 personnel way more this year, getting 3 wide receivers out there nonstop, getting these 3 weapons, opening the offense up even more for Geno, considering how efficient he was last year, and just letting him throw more attempts than he did last year, considering how well he did with those attempts. Because he was like, top, pretty much all his metrics across the board were like elite. I mean, he was like top in I think he was in deep ball accuracy, he was like top 5. Yards per attempt, he was top 10, top 8. Adjusted yards per attempt, top 8. True completion percentage was 4th. Deep ball completion percentage 5th. Like, the dude was a flat out baller last year, all the way around. And again, like I said, they went out and added weapons. So like, for me, it's just like
built the offense.
Yeah, like it just feels like he's in the same system that he was in. So it's another year in the system. They added weapons into a system that he already succeeded so well last year. There's obviously a risk that it was a one like outlier year, but I'm willing to take that risk because I just think there's a ton of upside in the fact that for a QB8 going like at like QB, he was QB8 last year, I think, and he's going at like QB15, and despite the fact that they added weapons. So like, I don't know. I just think any runs, like I said, he runs about triple the amount. So that helps a little bit as well.
I think the last part I want to make is one of the cases that I've made for Garrett Wilson is I find it hard to believe that this Jets offense, the only way, I should lead off, the only way that this Jets offense throws less is if their defense completely dominates game week after week. They threw 627 times last season. 627 times. We're talking about one of the best quarterbacks. If he gets 627 attempts at this, you're telling me he can't finish top 10 with 627? Has he ever even thrown that much? Yeah.
No, well, that's the thing is that I I agree with that point. I just don't think he's going to throw that much because a lot of those throws were incomplete passes. So that's why they had so many throws too. That's the part of it. Like it's the same thing we were talking about with like Jordan Love, where I said I'm not worried about the volume of Jordan Love compared to Aaron Rodgers because Aaron Rodgers is so efficient that when he throws passes, completes them, and they get yards, it's going to be less passes that he's going to have to throw in the future because one, they're moving the ball, so they have less field to go, and two, if they're playing more with leads, then that just tends to run the clock out more often than if you're losing. So like those two things, like I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to hit that 600 plus pass mark because he's just going to be efficient. Aaron Rodgers getting 550 to 560 pass attempts and 67, 68 completion percentage with like 8 picks on the year or less.
Yeah, I think a good conversation to have revolving around the Jets is I think it's going to be one of two things, right? It's either going to be Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson are top 10 players at their position, or Breece Hall is going to be a top 5 back. Like, I don't think it's
right.
If they run the ball, I mean, we're talking about it where this defense is so good. We're thinking they're going to have leads.
Off the ACL though.
It has happened. I mean, he seems to be healthy. He's running. Everything's aligning for him to be ready for the start of the season. Now, it could happen where it takes some time for him to get into it. But even then, like we saw how good he could be in those first. Like if he gets on that back half of the season, he could be RB1 down. He could be RB1 down the stretch and
don't disagree with that. But I don't know about top 5. And I don't know about his attempts. Like, what are they going to pound the rock with Michael Carter, rookie Izzy? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
unless the defense dominates this, I think no. I don't think it's really. They're not. What are they going to give him 16 times on week 1?
I'm saying it's going to be one of the two, right? I think it's going to be Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson are going to kill it.
Let's go with
Breece Hall is going to kill it.
No, go back to the first one.
Okay, Aaron Rodgers and
yeah, baby.
There he is. For what it's worth, I will say though, like I have them both in the same tier. I think there's like this nice tier of like this grouping of like Aaron Rodgers, Geno, Dak, Daniel Jones, Cousins, Goff, even Russ. They're kind of the back end of that for me, but Richardson, like all these guys where like they all have like a nice upside. Tua, to me, I just have them kind of ranked where I think like if you look at my rankings, most of that tier.
The passing QB.
What's that? I pretty much do.
Passing QB.
I hate the statues. I hate the old guys, dude. They're just crusty and it's just rusty.
Don't even get me started at your QB 10, dude. Don't
goddamn Gen Zer.
Yeah.
So, but no, yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like so a lot of those guys at the top of that tier for me, I just think have more upside. Like, I think Richardson, Daniel Jones, Geno, like they run a little bit more. Tua, obviously we saw the kind of upside he had with like when he was healthy, just slinging it like crazy. So then like right after that is the guys to me like Rodgers, Cousins, Goff, like all those guys where they're this more of the statue QBs and they have the upside too, but they have to do it obviously through touchdown efficiency.
Me and Mario, the old guys on Twitter, bitching about baseball players flipping bats when they hit home runs.
old man yells at
damn it.
Old man yells at Cloud. Me and Robbie just go, stay in there.
I love the bat flips. I'll tell you, I'm all for it.
Yeah, you do. Just like you love your Russian. You take your home run and you trot around the bases.
Why don't you and Josh Allen just get out of here?
I like them showing them up. I like my receivers taunting everybody, talking trash. Dez Bryant, give me some Dez Bryant in my life.
What's the CDC Carter tweet? Holds a knife to his throat or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. I don't know exactly, but I know. Exactly.
I've seen it. People bring it up every time a wide receiver pretty much tweets anymore. Somebody will take the picture and post it on there.
Yeah.
It's gotta be one of the most famous tweets in fantasy football community.
For sure.
boys, I think that wraps it up. We have to save one. We have a couple more of these debate gates. We'll have to save the other one for later. I also think it's probably best we save that person for later. Didn't put his name in there. Nobody will know who he is. Plus, let some things resolve themselves. Maybe we'll have a little bit more of an argument or debate, I guess.
Leaving a cliffhanger for the people.
Yeah, that's
make them think about it.
Yeah, you keep thinking. Yeah, that's right. Any last thoughts, boys?
No,
all right.
No. I think it was a good one.
Rob squared.
This was fun, boys.
Super quiet tonight.
Yeah, this was
on
fun
the last thoughts. All right, it was fun. It was fun. For myself, for Robbie, Bobby, for Norton, peace. Thank you for watching our episode. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
If you aren't already following us on Twitter, check us out at DadBodFS.
We'll be posting all of our best clips and videos to all of our social media: TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. You can find us on there at DadBod Fantasy Squad.
Lastly, if you'd rather just listen, we make sure we post our audio of each episode on all the major streaming platforms. Stick with us all season long so together we can count our